Welcome to Surly Nerd. This is our recap and review of The Last of Us Episode 7. Without further ado, we'll get right into it. So we're going to start out with exposition. And this one's kind of weird because it's kind of a two-part exposition thing because it's tying in to what we finished with last week with Joel being stabbed.
It has like a current storyline and a past one, yeah.
And then it jumps into the bulk of what this episode is. One thing I'll say is I almost don't like that we even started with the Joel stuff. I understand, like, symbolically.
I wish it would have held that till the very end.
Yeah.
Because it made you wonder, like, is he alive?
Right.
Until the very end. Because I think they left it on such a cliffhanger of who knows if Joel's alive.
Yeah.
And that was always cool in the game when you see Ellie hunting out in the woods and you're like, damn, did they kill Joel?
Yeah, I like the way they did it better there. Like, when we're thinking about the one versus the other, I do like that. Like, you're seeing Ellie do a lot of things by herself, and it's like, you could have believed that he was dead.
Yeah.
But I understand the structure of what they're doing. The whole theme of this episode is like not giving up on people.
Yeah.
You know, you don't quit. That's what they're trying to convey with everything with Riley and Ellie. But seeing him for that very brief, like 2-minute thing there, and then going almost an hour on the rest of the story, and then you pop back into this, and I'm like, oh yeah. Well, then you're like in your mind thinking, did he just sit there for an hour? Like, I know that's not how it is, but in my mind, like, I've been away for this long, so like, has he been
just
waiting?
Ellie at the door.
Yeah, just thinking really hard, remembering it. But I like the performance of him in this state. Like, it made my that back tingling feeling whenever she lifted up his shirt and like the pain he was in and everything. Like, I believed it. I believed the pain immediately. And a lot of times in movies, it's just kind of like, oh, they're stabbed. Like, I don't think of it that hard, but I kind of empathized with the pain he was feeling. But we'll go ahead and get into the bulk of the episode, which is the Left Behind DLC.
Yeah.
I think this is an interesting thing because I haven't played the DLC and you have played the DLC. And I want to get your take. We'll go ahead and go into adaptation here. I want to see what you think about how it lines up with the DLC.
Perfectly.
Really?
Yeah. The DLC it does do the current time and back in time.
Yeah.
But you're just playing as Ellie, scouting out I think it's a mall in the DLC, and you're like looking for supplies, and it cuts back to her and Riley. The same concept, except it starts the scene with them two in the room, and then they go to the mall. Then from there on, it's pretty much shot for shot.
Oh, okay. How do they do the action in that? Like, because there was only one zombie in the show. Was there?
It was that. There wasn't much. It
was more of an exploration.
The action scenes were current Ellie.
Oh, okay.
So you're fighting scavengers and walkers.
That's all.
Not walkers. Good Lord. Wrong one. Wrong show. Clickers and stuff like that, like on your own. But then it flashes back to the mall. It's more of a walking sim kind of.
Right. Well, it's like activities in between, like respites from the action. I like that they did it that way. As someone that hasn't watched it, there were moments where I was kind of like, all right, I want to get back to what's happening with Joel. I think it's just me because, like, again, I didn't play that section. I don't have as much of a connection to Riley. They did a really good job. Like, by the end of it, I'm not trying to talk it down or anything, but by the end of it, I really cared about their connection. But early on, the first 20 minutes of that, I was like, I wish this was the episode where I get to see all the stuff with David in his camp. But I'm past that, and I really did like the way it went.
Yeah, I love, because Riley does feel like just the same character from the game.
Yeah.
They did such a good job with her, and I believe them, like them to being that good of friends.
Oh, yeah.
They sold it really well. The acting was great.
Yeah, the awkward teenage friendship there and the budding relationship was very well portrayed. Like, when they were having fun, dancing and everything, and after the kiss and everything, not to jump way ahead here, but like, I'm assuming everybody's watched it. This is a spoiler review. We should have said that off the top.
Yeah.
But after the kiss, they did a really good job of like the awkward, like they kind of step away laughing, like awkwardly, like it felt very natural, which leads me into the main thing with this episode that I take away. Kids have it so rough in this.
I think her loving the escalator so much was like just cool because she has never seen something like this, and I was like, that's just, you never think about it.
Yeah, it's such a mild thing for us. Like, we don't really think about it. I mean, it is a cool thing if you stop and think about it. But I also think about, like, what would my reaction be if I had never seen one? I'd be like, wow, people before all this were so lazy. It's such a menial thing to spend that much money on something just to get you upstairs. Like,
the mall set was beautiful. The lights and everything, like the way it was shot was amazing. Like,
it was very well done.
Pure on just cinematography, this is a 10 out of 10. Like, this episode looked amazing.
Yeah, it's another episode where it's just like, they spent a lot of money to I mean, I'm sure this mall was abandoned. There's a lot of that going on in the country right now.
Not hard to find one.
Right, you can find one, but then you have to do all the little touches to make it look like a post-apocalyptic mall, and they nailed it. Like, at no point did I break immersion on that. Like, I was in this episode the whole time. It was a very immersive episode. We'll go ahead and get into the performances here. Like, we've kind of spoke on that a little bit, but I think Storm Reid was awesome.
Oh, yeah.
I want to see her in more things. Like, she played this character perfectly.
And it's such a different character because I watched Euphoria, so I'm used to her, dealing with Rue and all that stuff. So it's cool to see her play a badass character.
Right, yeah. And an uplifting character.
Yeah.
Like, she was the more uplifting while Ellie was kind of like the drag.
Yeah.
I mean, not the whole time, but, there was a little bit of pessimism on her side.
It's
probably was trying
cool to
pull
see
it
Ellie
through.
look up to somebody closer to her age and respect. It was kind of cool.
Yeah, I love their whole dynamic and all the little touches, man. Like Ellie reacting to the Victoria's Secret. Like it was really cool. Like I don't know. At no point did I think about like these are actors trying to convey emotion. Like because a lot of shows I really do see through that. And man, I'm just super impressed with all of the actors they've chosen and how well they've performed so far. But really, that's the only two you can critique. I mean, Joel for the little bit we saw him, but mostly them two. And for it being such a small, isolated thing, man, like that's a lot of pressure.
It's just crazy how great Bella Ramsey's doing with this character, Ellie, because this is the same Ellie, but it's an Ellie with hope and like having fun and kind of before shit hit the fan, pretty much. Yeah,
I immediately thought of in The Last of Us 2, the scene with the astronaut stuff.
Oh, yeah.
One of the flashbacks.
They are alluding to that a lot. With her love of space and dinosaurs and stuff. Like they're hinting at that.
I think a thing that we're getting more in the show is her interest. Like seeing her as more of a real person rather than in this combat mode all the time, Like, I mean, they did a good job of it in the game, like the essentials of it, but now we get to see her like reading the comic book and having the posters in her room. Like, it's awesome little touches that flesh her out as a human being that wants to enjoy things in this terrible world. And it made me really appreciative that we can just, consume all this that we want. We have all the things right in front of us. And she has to just appreciate the things that she happens to come across. Yeah. Like the Mortal Kombat machine. Imagine that.
I was so happy to see that it was going to actually be Mortal Kombat because it is a game that's a lot like...
a knockoff.
It's a knockoff of Mortal Kombat in the game. And it's really cool. And I think in that scene, so the power's out. And so Riley's describing what's like the fighting going on. So I think
they didn't actually play in that. Well, I like this a lot. Like the lighting up of the freaking arcade. Like I just can't imagine being in her shoes and seeing this mall, especially the arcade. Like she said, it was the most beautiful thing she'd ever seen. I was like, that is not a stretch. That would be the most beautiful thing in your life at that point.
Yeah, because she hasn't seen lights or colors like this. Like it's all new. It's just everything's new to her.
And I think it was a really symbolic decision to start out with the drab looking gym running and everything, just showing how terrible it was and oppressive it was.
And see that, I think that whole section was a comic book I haven't read, but it's there was a comic book released around, and it was more of Ellie's backstory.
All the stuff in the Fedra camp. Yeah. Oh, that's good. I need to read that. I think there's a lot of themes of like who can really say what's good or bad. Like who do you follow in these situations? That's another part of these kids being born in this. Yeah. They don't know what to think. No, like there's not that many people to tell them, especially with them having lost their parents. It's like one of them thinks the Fireflies are the right choice. Ellie doesn't really think Fedra is the right choice, but she's like, choice. Yeah, it's like,
it's keeping her alive.
Exactly. And it's like, how do you decide your politics in a time where it's, this? It's just in your own experience, and they haven't had that experience yet.
But what I like is I haven't liked Fedra for 7 episodes, but then you meet the principal of the school, and he's a nice person and wanted to help. Like,
it shows that not everybody's evil on any side of it. Yeah. And then we know Marlene and we trust her, but then you see the pipe bombs. And it's like, man, maybe they're not good. There's always a give and take.
They're doing such a good job of showing all sides of all of this.
Yeah, that's definitely
better than the game does, because the game you're Joel and you see everything from Joel's perspective.
Right. Yeah. So you're really only concerned with what you're experiencing rather than the overall. There's not as much world building. This has done such a beautiful job of world building. That's why I think it's such a great companion piece. Like they are integral together. It's kind of like Guardians is to Guardians in the game and the movie versions, like less so there because those are different stories, different iterations, but they kind of feed into each other. Like they can exist together. Whereas this, I feel like it feeds into it in such a beautiful way that both of them, blossom from that. But we'll go ahead and get into resolution and where we're left off. I think it was weird. I think it was kind of a weird ending, in my opinion.
That's what I was going to say. I don't remember how the DLC ended. I don't know if she came back. I'm glad that we didn't see her come back, because their step back from violence a lot of times means more than showing it.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
And Ellie talking with Joe and saying she has killed somebody before, we kind of put the pieces together.
Right.
She probably woke up and Riley was already turned. I was still expecting to be 10, 20 minutes.
Yeah,
when she was sewing up Joe, I was like, okay, there's going to be something here. And it just kind of ended weirdly. Weirdly.
Right. I think that's what was more weird to me. Not so much the decision to not show what she had to do with Riley, but I don't know, I just felt like that was blunt. And then the sewing up Joel was blunt. Like, we don't really know what happens next, which I imagine we'll pick up months later is probably what's going to happen. But I don't know. It was just a little odd. But I understand they wanted to end it on you don't give up on people, rather than like she had to give up on her and pull the trigger. So that makes sense to me. Where would you put this on a letter grade type of score?
I'm leaning A, because I have very little wrong with it.
Yeah.
And I just think it was a fantastic episode. The only thing, like I said, that I would change is kind of the more putting the Joel stuff towards the end to kind of keep that. When you show the first thing, it's harder to care about the back, because you're like, I want to know if he makes it. Like, it's hard to jump back and forth,
I just, I don't know if I would like move that. I think you keep it at the beginning, but I think you have to sprinkle it in a little more.
Yeah.
Like, that's why I'm going to give it a B+, because I feel like it could have been structured a little more to keep you involved with what is happening currently and why it affects it. Because, there was that aha moment of whenever she's like not giving up, finding the needle and everything, but there was such a long stretch between the two that I kind of forgot what was happening in the real world.
Did you do that on purpose?
What?
With the Take On Me playing?
No, but I should have. I love that they played that. I wish they would have done like the dancing scene.
I don't think that's the last time we'll hear that song.
You don't think so?
I think we'll get it in season 2.
Yeah, we'll get it. We'll get there.
We'll get it again.
I'm interested to see what everyone else thinks of this one, because we've been pretty on point with what other people have said.
People will like this episode more. The people who binge shows.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't feel like such a long stretch from present to present. Like you watch this little backstory and you get right back to it, and when you're binging it, it doesn't really affect you much when you're waiting.
I think there's a lot to be said about that. Like, waiting week by week, you're going to judge an episode totally different than if we had watched, the 3 in a row. To not have this, to have this break up the action between those two.
I feel like this is a story that started last week and won't end until next week.
Right. Yeah, that's the problem. It becomes a 3-week thing to figure out what's going on with Joel. We know what's going on with Joel because we played the game.
We got the little bit of Henry and Sam at the end of that one episode 4, and then jumped right into episode 5 and wrapped it up. Where now it's prolonging it for 2 or 3 weeks.
I thought I had, and then we'll wrap up here. I thought I had was like, this felt like the good Walking Dead episodes that break away. Yeah. Like where they pick a really good director to do this one. And
the episode with Morgan training. Yeah. I think it was like that one. Like, right. Which, get some of his backstory, and it's really well made, and it's an isolated event, but it means a lot to that.
And I still had that same feeling of, oh my God, like, what's happening? You know, where were we when you come back to it? But at the same time, it's good and you appreciate it. And then, like you said, when you binge it, it's really good. But yeah, we really like it. Still really like it. No surprise there. But we want to know what you think about the show. So leave us a comment. Leave us your thoughts. Consider liking and subscribing if you like the video. But until next time, stay nerdy.